Name a show that you remember that you're pretty sure nobody else remembers.
I feel like I'm hearing the phrase that rewired my brain a lot lately. Well, you know what I saw when I was about 13 that rewired my brain? The Max animated series on MTV. How does one even explain this thing? Well, I suppose we'll start with the fact that it was based on a comic book. Now, the comic itself is one of those things that has not really been remembered by history either. If you were there at the time, you might remember this thing, but otherwise, no, it doesn't seem to have carried on. Now, the animated series was on MTV as part of their oddities. It was kind of in the same vein as Liquid Television, so the same sort of mentality that gave us stuff like The Head and Aeon Flux. The series is about a big, bulky, purple guy with a very strange mask who calls himself The Max, believes himself to be a superhero. In reality, he is homeless and is working with his caseworker, Julie, who is trying very hard to keep him from landing in jail again. It is also simultaneously about the Outback, this primitive other plane that Max sometimes slips into involuntarily, in which he is a wild warrior serving his jungle queen. It is also about Mr. Gone, a man who can more meaningfully traverse these two planes and one of my favorite villains of all time. But for all the insanity that goes on, it's not really about Max, and it's not really about Gone, it's not really about the Outback, it's about Julie. It's about Julie and her history and her trauma and her trying very hard to deal with it. It is an extremely faithful adaptation of the initial run of the comics, other than the fact that it kind of wraps up and ends very abruptly in kind of an open-ended way because they knew they weren't going to get more episodes and they had to treat it like the point they were at was actually an ending. That show was one of a few things I saw around the age of 13 that really opened up my eyes to what animation could be beyond, Disney. And yes, I have read the comic. It's good. I actually would argue that, at least for the stretch of the comic that it covers, the animated series is better. Not for any substantial changes that it made, but actually because there are a number of things and ideas and concepts that just play better in animation. Like the entire idea is brought across more cleanly when it's in motion versus a series of static images. I have no idea this thing is streaming anywhere. I have it on DVD, which I waited forever for it to be made available on DVD, and eventually it was, thank goodness. But if you like weirdness, or if you like bizarre 90s comics, the kind of stuff that Image was cranking out, stuff other than Spawn, maybe give it a hunt. See if you can find it. Check it out. It's weird. Also content warnings on it, but yeah, I wish it was better remembered.